Yo, yo, yo! Welcome back to the MMA Short Show. As always, your boy, Stephen Moustaris. And finally, we can talk about a proper pay-per-view. We can talk about a phenomenal fight card that we have this weekend in UFC 304. I mean, I'm not trying to be a hater. You know, as a fight fan, the more fights we get, the better. But for MMA, it's been a struggle the last 2 weekends. I mean, the first fight card, at least that was out somewhere, and it was somewhat fun to watch. And shouts outs to Rose, I guess. But this last week's fight card, that man, I was passing out on the couch there. And you know, it's embarrassing to admit, but this is probably the first time I've looked forward more to a boxing event than I was the MMA event that weekend, and especially one like the Jake Paul Mike Perry fight. But finally, we can get on to UFC 304. I mean, I couldn't be any more excited for this fight card. Finally, we got some title implications on the line. You know, we got some real big, top 15, top 10, even number one contenders matches going on in this fight card. And the most exciting thing I would say, especially as somebody from the States who is getting sick and tired of watching these Vegas fight cards and all these other fight cards in LA and all these things where, you see sometimes the first 15 rows are absolutely empty all the way up until the third or, second fight left, the co-main event sometimes. And you're sitting here like, man, what the heck? As a diehard, I'm there the first fight of the night. Last year when I went to, Missouri to watch Max Holloway fight Arnold Allen, I was there. The people that go there before the first fight even starts, shouts out to every single one of you. But, as somebody from the States, for this fight card to be in the UK, finally out there in London and whatnot, you English guys, you bring it, man. You guys are there the entire fight night. And even though the main card, starts at 3 a.m. for you guys this week, shouts out to all y'all, but you guys are going to bring it. Every fight card over there is phenomenal. And more so, they stack it to the brim for as best outcome as possible for these UK fighters. And, clearly outside of the title fights and whatnot, we can talk about the title fights all day. But, you got Gige Chikadze versus Arnold Allen on this fight, which as a Max Holloway fan, you're always rooting for Arnold Allen now. You got the Muhammad Makaya versus Manel Kape. You got RoboCop versus Christian Leroy Duncan, who is absolute killer UK fighter over there. But, if we're being honest here, man, one of the most exciting fights that I'm looking forward to, most exciting outcome I'm looking forward to is the Bobby Green Paddy Pimblett fight. And, you say what you will about this matchup. I've been pretty vocal talking about this whole Paddy Pimblett thing. Personally, I thought he lost the Jared Gordon fight. And yes, he looked good against Tony Ferguson. But let's be honest here, man. We all knew that matchup was terrible. Tony Ferguson has legitimately died in the octagon 8 straight times. Like, what more do we need to see? The man's 45 years old, maybe, 38 or something, but he fights like he's 70 now. The man's been around forever. So, for Paddy Pimblett to win this fight, it's not that great. And for him to take his time off a little bit and to really focus on training and whatnot, I'm looking forward to seeing how he performs. But, say what you will if he's going to beat Bobby Green or not. I mean, this matchup is made for him to win. And this is where I'm excited, though. If we're being honest about Paddy Pimblett, after this fight, there's no more hiding the man. You can't hide him behind an aging, 500, career record fighter, Jared Gordon. You can't hide him behind, a falling, maybe he is a legend of the sport, but you can't, just because you're making his name off Tony Ferguson. We're not dumb. We know what Tony Ferguson it is now. And even with Bobby Green, I know he doesn't fight like he's 37, 38 years old, but the man is 37, 38 years old. He's been around forever. So if Paddy Pimblett goes out here and wins this one, it's awesome to see him get back on the winning track, but this is where it's going to get tough, man. Is this man really, don't even bring up Islam, Armin, Dustin, Gaethje, don't bring up any of them, Chandler, you don't even bring up good old Gamrot, don't even bring up any of those guys. If he gets by Bobby Green, that's, I think, ranked 15 or 14, 16, something like that, it's off to the races from there. There's no more hiding you, Paddy Pimblett. How is this man going to perform against even a 40-year-old RDA who is Mr. Fundamental? How would he match up against RDA? How is this man going to match up against a Jalin Turner? How's this man going to match up against a Renato Moicano? These are serious questions that I just don't think that this man could truly get by some of these guys at 155. We're talking one of the most stacked fight, divisions that have ever been. And on average, it's been the most stacked division ever. And at 155, with Paddy Pimblett talking all the way that he does, saying he's the best and he's going to be the greatest and he's going to be bigger than Conor, and putting all these things out there, this is your moment, man. Put the Bobby Green fight aside. After this, it's off to the races. I just don't know if we'll ever see, Paddy get to the top 10. From what we've seen in there, I mean, he looks pretty explosive in that first round, but he starts gassing in the second and the third. My goodness, he's just gasping for air and trying to get out of there sometimes. So you throw a 5-round main event on him, I don't know what we see out of him. this is just going to be huge here. I'm trying to become a believer of this man, Paddy Pimblett, but you guys be honest with me here. Like, I don't even know if this guy gets to the top 10 ever. Like, Jalin Turner at 7 foot tall, the length that he has, like, yeah, he might make some errors sometimes in fights, but I mean, he's always there. He's a killer. I mean, this man Renato Moicano, this man Dan Hooker. I mean, Rafael Fiziev. I mean, Benoit Saint Denis. Like, what is he gonna do against these guys? This could be very tough, and this could be the start to the end. I mean, it's not even a cakewalk against somebody like Bobby Green, especially in your hometown with all the pressure you got going on. You know, with your last few fights kind of slacking, and you're getting a lot of hate from a lot of people. Like, this is your chance to really prove some stuff. And like I said, after this, the UFC can't hide you anymore. And if they do, it's just going to be bad for you. So if you really want to make your push for the title, you really want to show how good you are, it's off to the races from here. I just don't think he can get it done. And this really could be the start. I'm not even trying to sound like a hater. This really could be the start to a 3 or 4 fight losing streak in a row. Because if he starts losing against the Dan Hookers, the Renato Moicanos, the Jalin Turners, you know, Rafael Fiziev even, like, this could be a rough one, man. And even the guys right behind him are absolute killers coming up too. So I'm looking forward to this fight for sure. It's one of the most, anticipated outcomes for me, I would say, just because I am excited to see what the UFC is going to do with him. They've been pushing this man for so long. They've been hyping him up for so long. And he's got the co-main feature, basically, if you take away the title fight. So I'm really looking forward to this, and clearly I'm still hoping a Bobby Green knockout happens, but you never know. And just wait, if Paddy goes out there and has a terrible performance, or just a little mediocre performance and gets by on a split decision or a poop decision, I mean, it's just going to be worse and worse for this guy. And I think what makes this the worst is the fact that he talks so much. The fact that he's always saying he's this, he's that, he's the future, he's this, he's the face of UK fighting. Like, this is the problem with these guys sometimes when they go out there and have that big of a mouth. When you do win, it's huge. You look like Nostradamus. You look like the notorious Conor McGregor. But when you go out there and talk that much and you come out and lose, you look like the biggest jackass in the world. So I'm excited to see what happens this weekend. And I mean, clearly, these title fights are as hyped as they possibly can. But there are some phenomenal fights this weekend, and I can't wait to see. And if anybody's there live this weekend, please comment. Let me know how this stuff's going. But as always, your boy, Steven Moustaris. And let's go, baby. Let's go.